Hi everyone, and thank you for being here today. So as Camilla introduced me, I'm Kristoffer, and I am the co-founder and CCO of Custimy.io. We are a venture-backed SaaS company that are trying to help e-commerce business to get more data-driven in overall. I come from a background as an e-commerce manager in Fertile that got acquired by Meta in 2018. And then I'm the former CMO and CEO in a food tech company called Chefmate, which is backed by primary former Just Eat guys. So jumping in a bit to just shortly why I am here today and also what Custimy is. So Custimy is a customer data platform, and we are built for the e-commerce business in the SMB segment. And we have choose to be quite niche in the way we do it. And it's a bit like a lot is talking about that we are not seeing it as possible to be best at everything. And therefore, we also try to narrow it down, saying, okay, we can actually be maybe the best to helping e-commerce business in this specific segment. So what a customer data platform shortly is a software that are consolidating all data from all different sources into a single customer view, where we make a profile of the customer. Then we are analyzing it all in the middle thing of a CDP, which is a processing layer, which means that we're starting to see similar things in different similar data points in different profiles. And in the end, we do have activation layer that helps the webshop owners to actually understand the data and activate it. And yeah, so Custimy is built for the e-commerce industry, but a CDP as a general software tool is as I see it, of course, is every company need, and it will definitely be for the future. Yeah, so just shortly a bit facts on us that maybe also make us, if I should say myself, a bit more interesting, is that we hit it almost 500K USD in ARR in the first 6 months after we did go out and sell. We also managed to get one of the biggest seed rounds, pre-seed rounds in Denmark after just 10 months, and we have raised over 13 million DKK in our first year. And of course, we are backed by PreSeed Ventures. So of course, I guess that's also why I got invited today. Yeah, so we are 29 employees now, and have done that in the first 18 months. And then at last, we are the only Danish company that is a part of a new Facebook program that Facebook have created to trying to solve the iOS 14 and 14.5 issue that Apple came with back in March. Yeah, so that is shortly about who I am and who Custimy is. And to jump a bit into why I do have some initial thoughts on these whole CRM, B2B, SaaS scale-up, is that we did do a ton of mistakes on the way, but we also learned things for it. So if we start jumping into the mistakes that we made as some of the key ones, because it's also talking a bit into some of the things that Lotte is actually talking about. And I guess the most annoying part is that she is actually telling about things you should do, and this is all the mistakes that we have done. So a bit annoying, but that's how it is. So you see on the right is a guy that's saying, let's execute all the plans. And that is basically me every time we are starting out on new things, and also what we did in the start of Custimy. And the issue with that is that you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you have to deal with that as well. So I think one of the first things we did was that we took the wrong choice because we didn't base it on the needs that we had. So today we are in Pipeline, but remember, we're only 18 months old. So we started in HubSpot, and that was because I have been working in it before in Chefmate. Then at a point there was some sales guys saying, okay, this is actually not fulfilling the things that we need. And then we jumped over to ActiveCampaign. It was also a bit cheaper, so that makes sense for us there. And then after a couple of months, we got also the customer success onboarded into CRM part. And they were like, okay, we can't be like the best customer success departments if we don't have a proper CRM system. And then we looked into it and we decided on saying it should be Pipeline. And today we actually, not like this day, but right now we actually look into finding a new CRM system. because pipeline is not fulfilling the needs that we do have. But this time we actually have set down a team from different places. So we do have operations, we do have customer success, we do have marketing, and we do have a salesperson represented in this team, because we need to figure out what is our needs in all departments, so we get a CRM system that also will be capable for us to scale with. So right now we are in the middle of choosing either HubSpot or Salesforce. And yeah, I'm not a part of that decision. So I'm happy for that, because then I'm not going to make the wrong decision again if it is. But yeah, so that was definitely the first one that we did. Then the second thing was that I think we started it all wrong with not thinking in the process early enough. And the issue was that we started in having this amazing CRM system as HubSpot is, and same active campaign, it could work brilliant, same with pipeline. But it was just too late for us where we started actually using the CRM system. And I think it's a general mistake that I often meet when I'm talking with other founders, is that you're not getting started good enough into the platforms. And if you're not doing that, it's going to be a hell of a hard time. So for us, we didn't track anything at the start. Of course, we did track small things, but it was actually first after I hired a fantastic employee called Christine to actually start setting up some of these processes for us to actually start collecting all the data. So we at some point actually will be able to use it in some kind of way. And of course, when you then start ramping up and you're getting hired more people in general, and you would like to set them into the case, they are getting a pretty hard time to get onboarded really well, because there is not tracked anything. So there's no data and you have no clue who have talked with who, and there is no set of any automations on, so things actually can run a bit themselves. And what do especially the two first things give as the third mistakes is giving a bad customer experience. So it's not like we lost a ton of customers in this period, because we actually didn't, but we definitely lose potential new customers in this period. And that was basically because of the lack of structure in Custimy, and also that we didn't have any automations. So everything was manual tasks that we had to do. And as I said, yeah, then we didn't get tracked that I have been talking with this person, and we didn't have a system gathering where multiple people could work in. So it also ended up that we did have a couple of leads that was really, really hot leads. And I'm quite sure that if it was today, they would be onboarded. But we lost them at that point. And because we didn't have, like, if you don't give people a good experience from the first one, from the start, they kind of lose a bit of trust, saying, okay, maybe you're a bit too early in the process. And we also were early in the process, we still are, but it's more like then you need to build something up again in trustship in this relation. So this was 3 of the mistakes that we made, that as I see it was the biggest one. Then we're talking a bit into things that I learned from this process. And it actually also talks a lot into what Lotte said as well. So I do have this thing that I'm doing every time we're talking about new things in Custimy, and it's about having high ambitions, and we definitely do have that in Custimy. But it's also for me, it's super important if we want to achieve the things we want. And the first thing is to make ready to scale from day one off. So when we built the product, we started saying, okay, we need to build a product that actually can contain 100 customers from the first day off. And if you are building a software, you know that that's almost impossible to make successful. But having the mindset of doing that from day one off, it also makes us a bit aware of where are we have to look at the mistakes. And I do have this, as it says, think of having 1 customer a day. Are you ready to get 100 new customers tomorrow? And if you're starting to have that mindset, it also makes you starting to wondering, is this the right way to do things? Is this the best automated way to do it? Is the cheapest way? Because imagine that you're going to hire 10 new people from tomorrow. And that also means that we started quite early on a lot of internal process on saying, okay, we need to have a structure for these things. And that's also why we recruited, for example, Christine as the structure role in especially sales, because we need to be ready to ramp up. especially when you are a venture-backed company. And then we had the second thing, what was a thing that I see today as a key learning from us, and one that I definitely would share with everybody I talk with, is that try to automate some things just in your CRM system. So it's not about that you need to have like a fully automated setup for every single trigger point in a customer journey. It's more like getting started at a place. And for us, it was just, we started on making a email that when people signed up in Facebook and LinkedIn, they got an automated email saying, okay, book in a time with Kristoffer and having a demo with him. So that was the first email we actually just did, and that was the only one, because we weren't ready yet to actually know what it is that we need to automate, but it's just about getting started. When you're doing this, you're giving yourself the opportunity to, as Lotte said, you're reaching out to the customer right away after they have signed up for a demo. It could be a buy, whatever. That also means that they are starting getting a better customer experience than the one that we offered before. You will also be capable of scaling the number of customers coming in. Yeah, of course, I will need more hands to be holding all the demos. But that is one thing. Hopefully, at a point we will get to that the product is more product-led, so we don't need to have demos with everyone. And then the last thing that was actually about you lessen your expenses of manual tasks, so you don't need people to do manual things, and it's a key thing for being able to scaling up. And I will come into it in the next slide as well, why that manual task is going to be a killer for a lot of companies. And of course, we are still doing it in customer. It's not like we have automated all things. But as I see it, it's more like if you're doing that, it's all about fixing problems all the time, because you have to do everything manual yourself. And the more you get to automate things, the more you can think about, okay, how do we scale these things? Yeah, there will still be issues, but you can solve them on the way. There will always be issues. But if you do automate a lot of things, it will also make you capable of also scaling in general. And then the last, we do have the consolidate your data. And this has been one of the keys for me and Martin to be able to raise a good round from PreSeed. It is why we also are looking into some really interesting things in 2022. It is that we have actually got to a point now where we do understand our unit economics. We do understand our business, what is good and what is bad. Because it's not about you have to sell things that doesn't happen when you are, for example, raising money, or you have to valuable your company. It's more about understanding what is good and what is bad, because the bad things, that is something we can do with. So starting gathering all your data into one place and start to understand your company is like a key thing. Because it's going to make it way more valuable, and it's going to be way easier for you to have that conversation with potential buyers, potential VCs, whatever it could be. So yeah, as you can see, I'm not a graphic, but I tried at least. I guess that's the most important. But as it say here, make yourself unbeatable on unit economics. And this is basically because when you are valuing a company, it's all about understanding the how much is it worth. So you can see on the left side, we do have plenty of questions that often VCs ask. So it's, what is your customer lifetime value? What is your CAC? How much do you burn? Do you have a churn rate? How much is it? And so on. And when you do that, it's of course you need to have some kind of reply on them, and at least have made some thoughts on it. So you need to take control over the outcome. So start knowing, what is your customer lifetime? What is your CAC? What is the amount of touch points you're doing, having in a journey, close rate, win rate, lead time, churn, and so on. If you do those things, it makes the conversation you will have with investors way more easy, because they will always argue against saying, okay, your company's not that much worth. That's a typical thing. They will. It's like you are having negotiation around the price and the ticket size, but it's about having the argument for it, right? And for us, it's just to say, okay, we do have this CAC, we do have this amount of customers, we do have this MRR. So we know that if we look at the market, this is the valuation of the company, and then we can discuss that with, yeah, and that's fair enough. But it's more like, when you are starting collecting your data and set up a CRM system in a good way from the start, you are making yourself more worth. So I know it's a tough one, and I'm not the most structured guy myself, but I can just see that the valuation of Custimy is increasing the more structured we get in having our CRM system implemented well enough. And I guess that gets to the last point, that is just saying, okay, just get started, because there is plenty of things, and you will keep being able to attend in different webinars where they say, yeah, you can automate this and this and this, and you have lead scoring and all these different things, and that's correct. That is how it's going to be when it's perfect. But I also think, as a young founder of a company myself, that it's more about just getting started. And both me and Lotte and Camilla talked before this, that there is plenty of company that is way big that doesn't have started on this yet. So it's also just about getting started, because then the rest will be easier. It's not that necessary that you need to use all the data you collect today, but at some point when you are ramping up a bit, you will need that data, and then you will be super tired of not having it, because it will devaluate the company in the end. Yeah, and I guess that was it. So thank you for listening in. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn if you have any questions or whatever it could be. So thanks for that.